Ladies, I just want to say welcome to my Facebook page, Ladies in Menopause. I must say it's on the encouragement of my wife that she asked me to do this Facebook page, and I really thank the Lord for her. Ladies, I'm going to keep this message short. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Ron. I am not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I am not a marriage counselor. I'm not anything. I'm far more qualified than any doctor or psychologist or marriage counselor can ever be. And I say that half serious, half with tongue in cheek. And the reason for that is I'm more than qualified is because I have a wife that started with experiencing menopause 3 months ago. And ladies, the reason I actually say that I'm qualified is because nobody, not even the doctors and psychologists and marriage counselors, and I say this with respect, can actually really pin it down and describe exactly what a woman goes through. It's like a man trying to explain when a woman gives birth what kind of pain she goes through. There's no man on earth that can understand or even begin to grasp the pains that the lady has got to go through. And the same with perimenopause. Now, perimenopause is that period in a young woman's life just before she goes into menopause. Now, menopause generally happens after the age of about 50, 55, and can last up to anything between 5 and 10 years, whereas perimenopause can even start happening in the mid-30s, 35 years old. My wife at the moment is 45 years old. And folks, so let me just tell you my story, and then you know why I'm qualified to speak the way I do. About 3 months ago, my wife and I were enjoying a we've always, even till today, despite the perimenopause, we've always enjoyed a very happy, harmonious, and a joyful marriage. We love each other dearly with all of our hearts. We respect one another. I've never loved anybody in my life as much as I love my wife. 3 months ago, and let me just backtrack quickly. When I say we had a happy marriage, folks, I'm including everything in that. And I'm going to be just downright honest and really just be open about this, and very honest. That obviously includes the sexual life. It obviously includes your bedroom life. And I can tell you, and I say this proudly, and I say this almost embarrassingly, but we're adults in the room, so let's speak to the adults in the room. I can tell you, I once said to my wife even, I didn't know what true lovemaking was until I met her. And I really mean that. So that is how good it was. Okay. And then 3 months ago, something happened which really, my bottom just fell out. My whole world just fell out. It felt like my world had come to an end. And to most men, obviously, it's going to feel exactly the same way. 3 months ago, I came home from town, and I walked in, and a normal, hi, honey, I'm home, and walked into the bedroom, and there she was sitting, and I knew immediately something was wrong. There she was curled up in a little ball and against the wall in the bedroom, and she said to me these words. She said to me, Ron, I can't take it. I've reached breaking point. And that scared me. That really scared me because I thought something had happened. And I mean, a person just doesn't say that when you're happy for so many months and then suddenly something goes wrong. So immediately I said to her, why? Now, if you think her answer scared me the first time, her second answer scared me even more. And she said to me, I don't know. Now, ladies, men are very single-minded. I'm not talking about one-track-minded. I'm talking about single-minded. If you give me a task to do, I'm going to concentrate on that one thing and one thing alone. But don't give me several things all at once. Man can't do that. Man can't handle the multitasking thing. And so straight away, I'm thinking, when she said she doesn't know, that's all I'm thinking. How come you don't know what's wrong with you? My thoughts immediately was, well, it'll go away. I said to her, it'll be fine. Sweetie, it'll be fine. Tomorrow it'll be fine. Well, tomorrow wasn't fine. The very next day it was actually worse. And the day after that it was even worse. Then she began to experience, she was very depressed and very discouraged. And I couldn't figure out why my wife, who's I've never in my whole life, seriously, even if she wasn't my wife and I'd met her somewhere, I would have said that is the most energetic, most smart, most everything person I've ever known. Really, she's really she's just beautiful. And husbands, that is, I know your wife, you should think the same about your wife. But anyways, and then this, and then and then she, on day 3, I think it was about day 3, I forget how it actually went. But on day 3, then she really dropped the bomb on me. And as a man, let me tell you guys, this is one thing a man can't handle. On day 3, about that, I can't remember the specifics, it was 3 months ago. On day 3, she said to me, Ron, can I just share something with you? I don't have a libido anymore. And at first, that really, really, I mean, it shook me. You know, I had to kind of figure out the back of my mind what libido actually meant for a minute. It sounded like some Spanish song that Julio Iglesias' son sang once. But she said to me, Ron, let me put it to you this way. Please understand. I love you. I love you with all of my heart. But I don't have a desire to make love to you anymore. I just don't have libido anymore. And ladies, let me just tell you, I mean, you tell that to your man, you tell it to any man, you know, any man that's married, obviously, your world comes to an end in many ways. And yes, I admit, I felt, wow, the way this is wrong. This is, because a man has always, any man, basically of any age, I know when you get older, you're supposed to get slower. That's what I used to think until I got older. But a man maintains his sexual drive basically the most of his lifetime. He really does. It's just like that. He's a man. So men are men. Let's just leave it there. But here's the thing that I want to say to you. For the woman, and this is the reason that I actually made this Facebook page, and I've called it Ladies with Perimenopause. Maybe you watching this video have stumbled on this Facebook page rather and watched this video. You don't know what perimenopause is. Maybe you're a little bit younger. Maybe you're just you're starting your 30s and you haven't heard of it. Well, not all women get it. My wife was telling me last night, she did a bit of research and she said she went to ChatGPT and it basically said that 80% of women will go through perimenopause. So she happens to be one of those 80%. But when you get to about the age of 35 and your hormones start wreaking absolute havoc on you, you must know that there's nothing wrong with you. You're most likely going into perimenopause. Now, how would you know that? Well, how we knew that was this. I said to my wife, especially when she said, hey, Ron, like, no more bedroom life, no more. That's when a man jumps very quickly. And I said to her, no, honey, wait, you got to go to the doctor and we've got to sort this thing out. And I'm glad we did. And we went to a doctor, a very, very good lady doctor here in the town that I live. And she took blood tests and had a talk with her. And just in talking with her, obviously she's seen this before many hundreds of times. And she looked at my wife and she said, dear, let me tell you, you show all of the signs of going through perimenopause. And when my wife came out of the surgery and, not surgery, the doctor's rooms, and I sat in the car waiting for her outside, and she said to me, honey, I've got perimenopause. That took me, a man, I mean, a few minutes to kind of process. I mean, well, okay, so what's the cure? So how do we fix this? Do we go to the chemist? Do we get some medicine? You take it and then your perimenopause finishes? Well, was I in for a shock? Because as I did research on this, and every woman and every man should really do their own research on this. Do your due diligence, as they say. And go to Google, go to YouTube, go to TikTok and have a look at what this is all about. There's very good material on the internet, all over the internet, about this. And that's what I did. And I found out that perimenopause can last from the age of 35, can last up to 10 years, 5 years. Now, my wife, her age is 45. So she's 45 years old now. And so she started with perimenopause. She had an estrogen level of over 700 and it dropped down to about 88. So now I'm not even sure what that means. I don't even know what estrogen is, but that is what the levels, the blood levels showed in her tests. So folks, let me tell you that for a woman, when that happens and your estrogen levels and your other levels, and forgive me if I don't know, I'm not a doctor and I don't know all of the names of all of the hormones, but let's just call it hormones for the sake of just saying everything within your body. When that goes for a ball of chalk and suddenly it drops from that level where it should be right down to that level, and you begin to experience hot flushes, you begin to experience nausea, you begin to experience symptoms you've never had before, and especially tiredness. But not just tiredness as, I'm tired, I think I'm going to go lie down, but exhaustion on a daily basis. Then you must know that you're probably going through perimenopause. And you need to go to your doctor, go to your GP and have it checked out and have it confirmed. Because once you know that what you've got, once you know what you're facing, then it's like a soldier. Once he knows the enemy he's facing, he knows how to tackle that enemy. Except this enemy, ladies, I can tell you it's not easy. It's not an easy, it really isn't easy. Let me just share with you, 2 nights ago, I was looking at TikTok because I actually put out 2 TikTok videos for men. I was addressing men regarding this topic. And I had a look at some of the remarks, and the remarks absolutely made me so sad and so tragic to read them, when some of the people, there were 3 couples that actually said they went for marriage counseling, and 2 of the marriage counselors actually blamed the wife, and said, you'll get over it. What you're explaining now, you're going through midlife crisis, don't worry, you'll get over it, you need to attend to your husband. And really, that made me sick to my stomach. That guy deserves to lose his license as far as I'm concerned. Or he needs to go to YouTube and go and look at perimenopause. You don't need marriage counseling, folks, unless you really do need it and your marriage is almost beyond repair for other reasons. Then obviously there's a place for marriage counselors. I'm not saying there isn't, there is. There's a place for psychologists and definitely doctors and surgeons, etc. But when you're going through perimenopause, I can tell you right now that there isn't a doctor, there isn't a psychologist or marriage counselor that knows what a woman is going through. And the reason I know that is because, number one, a man has no idea what his wife is going through. If any man says, oh honey, I know what you're going through, he's lying. He's not even exaggerating. He's not even telling you the truth, because there's no man on earth, there's not even a doctor that knows. A doctor can tell you on the biological and medical reasons. They can say, well, the estrogen is that, and you need that hormone, and this replacement, and HRT is hormone replacement therapy, and this and that and that. But really, when it comes to psychologically, just being at women, when you get home one day or you're at the office and you suddenly have these hot flushes and you begin to feel exhausted, you begin to get these headaches, these migraines, however you pronounce it, and that you've never had before, and you show all of these symptoms, ladies, you're going through perimenopause. And it's an enemy that's so difficult to defeat, because it really is, it encompasses everything, including not just the physical, but the psychological, the emotional, and sometimes even the spiritual. Okay, because and I say this with respect. The woman that suffers through perimenopause is not the only victim. The husband is also a victim. Because why? Because suddenly his lifestyle, not just yours, but together as a family, and especially if you've got children, that makes it even worse. Your lifestyle changes, because now you've got to cope with something you never expected. In fact, a lot of women, probably the majority of women who have never heard of perimenopause, when they're suddenly faced with perimenopause, it hits them like a train. And they don't know how to cope with this. And they end up crying, and they cry a lot. So men, if you're out there and you're looking at this video, just understand me, just trust me on this one. When your wife begins to cry, there are times where she doesn't even want you to go put your arms around her because she's irritable. And then you may think, what have you done wrong? First of all, there's 2 things you need to know. Ladies, I want to talk to you. Number 1, you're not to blame. There's nothing wrong with you. You're still that perfect, beautiful lady that married your husband however long ago. There's nothing wrong with you, okay? It's what's happened to you. It's what's the changes that are taking place in you. So you didn't ask for it, you didn't deserve it, but it came your way anyway, and it's not your fault, all right? How you deal with it is really going to depend on your relationship with your husband in many ways. And let me explain that. So husbands, let me talk to you quickly. When your wife, when she goes through this, it's nothing that you've done. It's nothing that you've done wrong. Because firstly, my impression was that, did I do something wrong? Am I failing my wife? Am I starting to is it about me? No, guys, it's not about you. Understand that. It's nothing to do with you. It's all about what your wife is going through. And all I want to say, ladies and guys out there, listen to me. if there is ever a time that your love for your wife is going to be tested, it's during the time of perimenopause and even menopause, because it can last for a very long time. And it may be that you don't even end up making love for a number of months. Now that may sound terrible. And folks, while we're talking about that, let me just address this issue quickly. It's also the most vulnerable time that you have in your life and in your marriage. And the reason for that is, let's say your husband is a working man, he's at the office, or you're a working lady, and you don't see him during the day. But then at the office, he comes to the office and he's feeling all, down in the dumps because he's not getting it at home, and you're not pleasing him in that way, and he's being a bit selfish, being a little bit pushy and demanding perhaps. I don't know. You get men like that, I guess. And then he gets to work, and one of the other ladies there, maybe she's in an unhappy marriage, maybe she's a single lady, maybe a younger lady, maybe a prettier lady. She comes up to him in the coffee shop and says, "Hey, Joe, how's it going?" And he says, "It's not too good." And then she says, "Oh, trouble in paradise." And then he pours his heart out to this complete stranger, well, not a stranger, but a colleague, and says, "Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my wife. She's moody all the time. She's changed towards me. I don't think she loves me anymore." And he comes with all these soppy stories. Ladies, don't fall for that rubbish. Don't fall for that absolute nonsense. If you're a working lady and a guy comes up to you, and he tells you that, just turn him away. Just say to him, "Listen, take your wife to the doctor. She's got perimenopause." Okay, because that breaks up marriages. Because all that lady's got to do to your husband, all that she's got to do rather, all that lady's got to do is just act kindly. Show a little bit of compassion to that man, to your husband. And then he enjoys that. He enjoys a little bit of flattery from a younger woman, from a prettier woman maybe, a younger woman maybe, all right? And the next thing you know, your marriage is in trouble because you're starting to feel affection towards this other lady because he's not getting it from you. And that is why I say that is the perimenopause time in a marriage for both women and men, for wives and husbands, can be the most trying time, can be the most difficult time to face. So there's one way to face this, and that is only one way, and that's head on. You face it head on. So here's my advice to you. Ladies, I'm talking to you first. You first of all need to establish that you are going through perimenopause. Do a little bit of research on it. Ask your doctor, certainly. But he's only going to give you, it depends. He's going to tell you, look, it's going to last so long and whatever. But he himself perhaps hasn't done all that much research on it. There's the best research that I've found, the best research, and I've put some of it here on this page, is testimonies from other women. That is your best advice you're ever going to get. And that is the number one reason that I've actually established this page, because it's not so that psychologists can talk to you and doctors can give you advice. You'll find no doctor's advice. There's no prescription. There's nothing. I'm not even going to give you advice on what medication you should take. There's nothing about that. The best medication, the best advice I can give, and the strongest counseling that you can have is when you listen to other women that are going through the same thing. And I know the very first time my wife found out, oh, somebody else has gone through that thing only. It kind of was therapeutic to her, knowing that she's not the only one that is having these night sweats and having the fan on her. We heard something very funny the other day, not even, it was during this week. We had some visitors, and I met this guy and, invited him to come and share a cup of coffee with us. And they came along and brought some lovely scones. And we were chatting, and we ended up, me and this guy, his name was Chris, we went and sat outside, and we had a lovely chat together. We're really, really lovely folk. You get some really wonderful people in this life, and we've now become friends. So we were chatting outside while the wives were talking inside. And lo and behold, my wife was talking to this lady, and what were they talking about? Well, the things that ladies talk about. And perimenopause came up in the subject. And she started talking about perimenopause. And this lady said, are you also going through it? And my wife said, yes. And she says, I get so hot that we actually had to get this fan. And I lie under that fan 24/7. I can't get cool enough. But my husband hates it. I can tell you, I just had to laugh when I heard it. I thought, yes, that was therapeutic to me as a husband. And I'll tell you why. Because the moment my wife began to get very cold, what did I do? I went out and I bought this very big fan. And I said, honey, there's a present for you. And we put it on, and this like aeroplane big propeller came on in our room, and it was a gift from heaven, let me tell you, for her, not for me. Why? Because it cooled her down, and she can't sleep without the fan, and I can't sleep with the fan. So there's a practical problem straight away. It's just a practical problem. I can't sleep with a fan on me. I can't handle even the noise that it makes. It's terrible. So guess what? Neither of us get sleep unless you make another plan. Okay. So it's about improvising. When it comes to the love-making side, the bedroom life, the sexual side, you've got to improvise. Guys, there's no excuse. And I'm talking to the guys now, to the husbands. There's no excuse for you to go flirt around with other ladies because you don't think your wife loves you anymore. Of course she loves you. I'm almost tempted to say grow up. Okay, because a lot of men without the emotional intelligence don't have enough strength in their minds and their hearts, and enough love in their hearts towards their wife to be able to say, honey, you know what, when I married you, I made a vow. And my vow was to, you know what, to love you, whatever, through thick and thin, through richer or for poorer, whatever comes our way, I'm going to look after you. So let me wrap it up and just say this to you. The one way to handle this thing is, as I said, head on. For the wife, go and do research. I'm going to endeavor and do my best to put videos on this Facebook page. The reason I established it is because I need you to do two things. Ladies, please, I'm begging you to do this. If you are suffering through perimenopause or menopause, or you've been through it, or you know someone that's going through it, but especially if you are experiencing it, and you don't know what's hit you, and you don't even know how to handle it, and you've got problems, then you can remain anonymous. You don't have to put your name there, but you join the group. Please join this group, and then share the group with other ladies. But above all, this is what I want you to do. This is a group meant for ladies. Really, it's meant for ladies, because I've got another TikTok channel that I'm working on that I'm doing for men, especially for men, all right? So I'm going to be addressing mostly about ladies. I need you to come here. I need you to put your comments down and just write us a short story and share it, not for me, for my benefit, but for the benefit of other ladies that will join this group. And hopefully this group will grow. And the stronger it grows, the bigger it grows, the more ladies that share. And don't be scared to grab a camera and do a selfie video. Don't be scared to do that. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women on TikTok doing that. They're just saying, look, I'm not a TikToker, like I'm not a social media fundi. But grab the camera and give us your story. Do you know why? Because by doing that, you're going to do two things. Number one, you're going to heal yourself. Okay? It's going to be therapeutic for yourself, getting it off your chest. And number two, you're going to receive comments. People are going to comment to on your video, and they're going to say, hey, I'm going through the same thing. And then, you know, you can make friends on Facebook. You can make friends with these ladies, send friend requests out to them. Get together and chat, and I believe that there is healing in a group getting together and just saying, hey guys, this is what I'm going through. I never thought I would ever experience it. In fact, I didn't even know about it when it hit me. So ladies, that's the purpose of this group, and I don't want to make this video too long, but that is the purpose for it. Please use it, please make use of it, and I'll welcome you once again if this is the first time you've come to the group, and I really hope it's going to help you and your husband. If you want to ask a question, please ask it on the group. Somebody perhaps will know the answer and they will answer it. So thank you once again, and I really appreciate you looking at this video and joining the group. We look forward to having you aboard. Thank you. Bye.